Welcome back, guys. We're back with another breakdown. Welcome everyone. Starting very shortly. I didn't actually put the thumbnail out earlier. I forgot last night, so I basically just started. So it's probably going to be a while till we get like 20 or 30 people here, but it's all right. We got time. How was the trading day today? Pretty good. There was only one position, which was Don's position. Closed basically the same amount, 9.5 pips approximately. I think we broke it down on the stream yesterday as well. We were looking for a sell right below 2026, but after a top wick, tapping around 2036 sorts of areas, 2038 potentially. I put into the Discord for the members just saying that like I was looking for a price to tap around like 2038, 2039 sorts of areas. It came up, literally tapped it on the dot. There was like a 4 pip stop loss if you actually got in. I didn't get in, but then it started rejecting. But that was what we were looking for in terms of liquidity. And once you re-break this low, it should have been clean, right? Clean to come down to 2018, 2019 sorts of areas. So, how far did this push, right? This breakout below, you had, around 35 pips, 30 pips here. Probably would have closed full, right? But that's essentially what we were looking for. I'll show you guys on the charts just in a bit. You can't see right now because you're still seeing the stream starting soon, but we'll go through it. We'll go through it. Yo, yo, yo. It took sales 2029 down to 2027. Yeah, as long as that was your plan, right? As long as it is a plan that you followed and you stuck with it and there was reasoning behind it, that's all that matters, right? Then you had a W day. Welcome, welcome everyone. We will be starting very shortly, but actually switch over to here. Yeah, welcome back. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm excited. We didn't have like the cleanest, or the most aggressive push today, but we had a pretty good run, I think, today overall. We basically did exactly what we were looking for in the analysis yesterday, and yeah, I mean that's all you can really hope for, right? Oh, I'm lagging a little bit. It's okay. You can always see me in Bard's stream. Oh, not me. K-Ham. Welcome back, everyone. We will be starting very shortly. Are you going to the 2024 DVS meetup? Yeah, I'm probably going to be helping out, potentially even doing a little bit of teaching there. Depends on how Don wants to do it. I don't really know. I think because it's in London anyways, right? I'll probably show up for the in-person as he's doing the course, and like try to help out people as we're going around. Because when we were doing the actual learning in Miami, essentially like Wix was kind of coming around, just teaching us a little bit. Reza was kind of around doing this kind of like tech support sort of stuff. So I'll probably just be around, answer any questions people have. But yeah. And then meet and greet, obviously, just whoever is in London can just attend, right? So just, this is gonna be free, so. Oh, are you coming? You live in Arizona? Yeah, like, come down for sure. I went to Miami by myself, right? Stayed in some shady ass hostel, which turned out to be a really good experience anyways. But yeah, like, highly suggest anybody who wants to learn the DVS kind of DonVo strategy to come down to London in person. Whenever tickets are out, I don't even know when he's gonna have that ready, but Our daily closed bearish, didn't we? Oof, that was beautiful. We have some range to fill as well. That is quite the nice closure. We have 4 people in the Zooms. Cool, I'm gonna get started in about 4 minutes here, guys. Should be a pretty good analysis today. Yeah, gold is looking quite good at the moment. Yesterday during pre-Asian and today during pre-Asian, gold has like more direction than usual, which is good because you typically end off the day with less volume, right? But the fact that we have overall slightly clearer direction for where price wants to go is quite good. You've been making 30% a week. I mean, if your account is quite small, right, like $100, and you're using 0.01, technically 0.01 should still be 1%, right, at 100 pips. No, sorry, no. 10 pips is $1 in that case, right? So it's difficult to risk any less than that because you can't go below 0.01. So yeah, I think just go with it. If you lose 100 pips, right, then you lose $10, which is 10%. So you're technically doing like 10% risk if you using stop loss similar to us, like around 100 pips, 150 pips, so 10-50% risk. So if you are making, 10% a day or whatever, or 30% a week, I think it's logical if your account size is small to like, and you're using the minimum lot size, which is 0.01. So I think you're fine. But as you scale up, you probably want to drop the risk a little bit, right? So for example, if you then get to like $1,000 or $5,000, you probably want to scale down the risk a little bit because you don't want to be losing 10-20% per trade, right? Yeah, I think I would definitely recommend anybody who's new to trading to open up a small account, like $100 account, and just trade 0.01 because the main thing you need to develop is the skill. It's not about like, oh yeah, I want to make money straight off the bat because more often than not, you'll lose money when you first come into the markets, right? So if that's the case, why don't you lose an amount you're comfortable in losing, right? And then during that process, learn about how to actually trade. Because then if you lose $100 and then you put in another $100, that's still okay, right? And even if you continue to lose that like 5 times or whatever, you've only lost like $500. But then over time, you should be blowing that account slightly less, right? Less frequent and less often. So as that's happening, you probably learn more about trading. And then over time, you can keep your account going for longer and longer. Yeah, like I think it's very key to trade with real money though. Because if you're trading with like just a demo account with like $1 million in there, that's not going to do anything, right? You can make like 100K in a day, or like you can even make like 10 mil if you like go risk whatever on the demo account. But you have no emotions there because it's just a game to you. It's just a stimulator essentially, right? But cool, guys, we are going to get started right about now. So welcome back, everyone, to another pre-Asian analysis. Let's just break down what happened today, right? Today we started off, I think, around these areas. I think around here, yeah, the daily opened here. So what do we say? We said that, okay, I was more bearish than I was bullish, right? Understanding that the previous daily closed bearish below and then also a bullish respecting 2030, 2031 sorts of areas. So because of that, I was understanding that there's a high chance you're going to come down to fill the range, but we don't know if there's going to be a top wick, and we don't know how steep that top wick is going to be. But typically on the daily candle, right, you usually get a top wick and you usually get a bottom wick, right? So if that is the case, we expected the price to generally want to come down to fill the bottom of the range, which is towards 2018, 2019. But before that can happen, I need to confirm that it's not going to be just, a bottom wick for price to drive up, right? And how is that going to happen? In the form which we literally said last night, right? So it came down. We wanted to come down, break 2026 on the smaller time frame. So look at this, right? You broke on the hourly, and then cool, you didn't drive. Why? Because the daily didn't have a top wick, right? You don't have liquidity to continue down. So as you started printing back up, cool, you're looking for liquidity to be grabbed, but you can't take the buys or the sells to continue at these points, right? Because your daily has a bottom wick at that point. But once you re-break this low, or re-break 2026, you're probably good, right? You're probably good to at least go down to 2024 and potentially down. You can hold runners towards 2018, right? 2019. So that's what we were expecting, and what played out was exactly that, right? You got a closure on the smaller time frames below 2026 around these areas. You probably, I mean, even if you got in, you had a stop loss above here, right? Your daily high. And you can slowly trickle your way down. The cleaner break was probably below here, below the most recent low, which is 2024, and that would have given you a net of around 30 pips, right? So that's what I would have potentially been looking for, and I think we caught the same trade with Don today as well. Essentially, what we broke down yesterday. But that's really the only trade that we could have taken, essentially. Couldn't have taken any buys here. You maybe could have taken some buys, some celery buys to go up, but I'd say the more confirmed one is probably this sell down here. But anyways, let's get to the analysis. Monthly is still in the same range, right? Two lines, 2073, or wherever that kind of bottom at top of the range is, and around 971. You're still in this range. We broke this down yesterday. We'll break it down today. We'll break it down tomorrow as well, right? But overall, you're still in this range. You haven't closed above 2073. Because of that, you have a monthly goal, right, of filling 1991, and then at that point, price needs to make a decision, right? Is it going to continue pushing up, or is it going to start, breaking below, right? But what you can anticipate is if it does break below, right, we can probably look to take price down, but if we need a confirmation, right? Because overall price is bullish, we still could get a fake out, right? If price does something like this, there is a chance that price next candle comes down, breaks the lows, and then starts closing back into the range. If that happens, right, then we have a fake out, and we can probably use that as liquidity for us to start retesting the highs, getting this wick filled towards 2150, right? So that's what we're looking for. But before any of that happens, right, the monthly needs to probably come down, grab more liquidity before we can flip to continue upwards. We currently don't have that steep of a top wick for the monthly, and also we're 10 days into the monthly. We still have time to flip. We have around 20 days left, right? I don't know how many trading days that is specifically, but we have a total of around 21 days left for the rest of January. So if the candle flips to come up, cool, yeah, we'll probably take price up to these areas, but we need, to make sure that this is the bottom wick, right? And not that, price is going to come back up just to grab more liquidity for us to come down towards 1991. So if price does close exactly like this for next month's candle, right, we can probably anticipate, right, price to come up, break these highs, grab liquidity, and then fill the range down, right? That's kind of situation one. Situation two is we'll probably come down to fill this overall range at 1991 first, maybe even grab some liquidity, and then come back up. And you may get a steeper bottom wick like this, and this would be, this here would be a fake out of the smaller time frame, right? And that would be your liquidity for us to retest those highs and potentially break above 2073. And then for next month, we can probably look to retest 2150. Right, so that's what I'm looking for overall for the monthly time frame. But overall this month, we understand that we didn't close above 2073, so there's a high chance for you to come down. And as it's coming down currently, we have an overall goal towards around 1991, around the 2000s, so it varies. On the weekly, right? So weekly range, I would say, comes down to around 2018. We tapped this, I think, 2 days ago, and now price is just making a decision, right? You haven't really gone anywhere since then because you've tapped the weekly bottom of the range. What we need to see now is a weekly candle closure. How is the weekly going to close? Is it going to close respecting 2018 or is it going to close below 2018? So that's very crucial, right? Because if it closes below, there's a chance that it's going to continue down. Similar to the monthly, right? If it closes, just like this and it has not much of a top wick, right? Something like this, what we can expect is your next bottom of the range is probably down around these areas, or maybe even these areas, right? So if that's the case, we have another goal towards around 1985, and what we can expect is probably price to come up, grab a top wick, then start filling the next range down, right? And if that happens with 6 sells, obviously to come down to fill that range, right? But overall, we haven't got that weekly closure yet, so there's not much we can do besides watch the weekly candle, right? We're not trading the weekly candle anyways, so we're just going to watch it, right? But understanding that this is the bottom range at 2018, price can do anything, right? Price can completely start to flip now. Even though it's Wednesday, we're going into Thursday, price can still flip. This weekly candle can still flip and start retesting the highs, right? I think we have news tomorrow. Let me just check. We have, CPI, right? If we have CPI, that could be the kind of news event that will drive us up to the weekly flip and then take us up to 2073. That could definitely happen, right? So if that's what we're expecting on the weekly, right, that you filled the range now and we need a weekly closure. If not, if it comes back up to these areas and it's going to flip, then we need more details on the daily to see what's actually going to happen in the shorter term, right? So overall, on the daily, it looks like we have closed bearish, right? Below most recent, we formed a support here, right? Because we have a bearish closure, then bullish closure. So price is failing to close below 2027 as of yesterday, but today we have closed below, right? And our overall next range is down towards 2018, right? This sort of area around 2018, maybe you can put that slightly lower towards around 2016.7. So that's probably your overall daily goal. And you have quite a nice top wick again for us to start coming down. So in that case, we're understanding that our next goal is probably down towards 2016. So you have range to continue down, which is fantastic. How much range is this? We're 2024, 80 pips. Yeah, 70 odd pips, right? 75 pips. So if that is the rest of our range, right? Obviously, my daily bias is going to be bearish, right? Because I'm understanding that our daily candle closed bearish with quite a nice top wick, and we haven't filled the range yet, right? Overall, our structure has been bearish for the last, for this week, for last week, I think as well. And overall, it's looking like we're still within this range, but because we're in this range, probably going to fill down to 2016 before making any sort of decision, right? Last time we closed below these areas, just below here, right? Closed below, you tapped into these areas, potentially even towards around 2009. This you just started ripping down, right? So there's we're definitely bearish. It's just where is price going to drive to? That's the question, right? So at the moment, just based on the daily, we're bearish. We have range to fill. How can we get an entry, right? So let's go to the 4. Let's look at what our range is on the floor, right? So just looking at this, really, just off the bat, this looks to be our range, right? We're in a range between 2005 and 2016. So if we're now closing on the 4-hour bullish, respecting 2025, there's a high chance you can get a salary play, right? But how is that salary going to play out, right? So last time we closed below, so for example, in these areas, right, you just kind of come straight down. You grab some liquidity again towards around these areas. In this case, you didn't grab liquidity, you filled immediately. But on the 4-hour, it's slightly more difficult to see, right? And you probably have more levels towards around 2000 here because you have these wick rejections, right? So there probably is a relatively strong level here on the hourly or whatever that we'll see later on. But just in terms of the 4-hour direction, we're definitely bearish, right? but we'll probably need a top wick before we can come down. And what is that going to look like? That is going to look like this, right? Price coming up, breaking some highs potentially, and then coming back down. And we'll look for this kind of overall fill of the range, right? Similar to these candles, right? Similar to what happened here, similar to what happened here, and what happened here. All of these candles came down after breaking below 2025, right? And then you just filled the range. So in terms of the 4 hour, you're pretty solid to come down, right? The only issue is you potentially have some smaller level around here, right? But you could also say once you get a 4 hour closure below 2023, you should be good to rip down. That's probably the cleaner play if you want to wait for that. But overall, I'm understanding that my 4 hour range that I've found is between 2025 and 2016. So that's the range I'm playing. And as it's looking now, because we're overall quite bearish as well, there's a higher chance it's going to fill down to 2016. So cool. How can we get in, right? We keep getting this, bearish biased in our heads, but how can we actually get in for the actual position, right? So let's draw some hourly ranges, right? So we have this at 2024. We also do have a lot of wick rejections here, which is, obviously on the hourly it's looking like wicks, but on the smaller time frame, it's just price consolidating in this area. Price is just doing this, right? So let's mark up that as like kind of similar to the bottom of the range. Let's jump down to 15 just to kind of see where that is. There's not too bad. I guess you also have something around here. But what we could do potentially for today is quite interesting. We could wait to see if price is going to close again, similar to yesterday's analysis, coming down first, coming back up, but then we may be able to get a fake out below 2024 to fill down to 2020 and hold runners to 2016. Why do I say that? Because last time, I think when that happened, we were in this sort of range here, right? Overall, between 2020 and 2024, we came up to these areas, right? These areas first, well, we filled initially, but you came into these areas here, you came back up, grabbed the top wick around 2030, and then you closed below, back into this range, fake out straight down. So I'm gonna just highlight this for now, right? This is probably the top of the range for me that I'm looking for price to grab liquidity at. All right. What are some other examples? So here, right, you had some, play around these areas. You couldn't break through. You came back up. You grabbed liquidity towards these sorts of areas, these higher time frame liquidity areas towards 2023 potentially before coming down. So let's put another line around here, right? You had some play here. This was more bullish structure, so it's difficult to analyze here. In this case, you kind of grabbed liquidity towards these areas. You did come back up to these areas, but you didn't start pushing down, and it's a little bit more recent. So, okay, I'm more interested in this because this seems to be more of the structure that we're looking to mirror. So, in that case, I'm not going to be looking for wick entries at 2030, right? Because at the moment, I don't know how the daily is going to open. If the daily opens very bullish and we have no bottom wick, then cool, maybe we can get that, but I'll still need to see price potentially consolidate somewhere. So if price does something like this, starts consolidating around these areas, comes up, right? I probably won't get the wick entry here, but what I look for is potentially a fake out back into here or a breakout below this range for us to start coming down, right? But if price just comes up first, I'll need it to consolidate somewhere. But overall, I'm expecting 2030 if we want to grab liquidity. And if not, price can obviously continue to rip down. When is news? What time is it? 1:30 p.m. So that's I think like 8:30 a.m. For dawn. Yeah, like price at the same time, right? You can say just off of 4 hour, we tapped into these areas of liquidity previously, right? Looking at these areas. So after grabbing this, what was the next move? We came down to here, potentially grabbed a little bit more liquidity towards these areas, and he started selling off all of this. So if news comes out and it's very bearish, this could be the kind of move that we're mirroring, right? And that would be, we break out of the daily ranges below these areas, potentially to come down, right? But it would fill your monthly, right? Monthly would have a cleaner bottom wick towards 1990, 1991. Your weekly would show that you're probably bearish to come down to the next range. And then a lot of stuff would kind of align there. But what we're doing is we're scalping. So we're looking for the smaller ranges down to around 2016. So what I'm going to be kind of looking for tomorrow is a simple sells below, probably. Initially, I'll put it here. Sells below 2020, but it's very dependent. What I'll need to see is price grabbing quite a nice top wick, at least towards around, I would say, like at least towards like 2028. I would say 2028, maybe towards like around 2029. So it's been at least to these sorts of areas here. These wick rejections, all of this, these are all levels as well. So if we come back up to these areas and then start flipping bearish again, I'll look for a fake out back into 2024 to come down, right? The only time where I can't look for the fake out to come down is if price does something like this, where it comes down, comes up. And then in this case, I can't look for the fake out because you could be bullish to continue going up, right? And the fake out could be in the other way. So if that's the case, right, I can't look for those buys. But if your daily has no bottom wick, and then price is kind of just pumping up first, you kind of just start going up. As it's coming back down, I'll look for a fake out on the higher time frame to come down. Ideally, as it's coming down to break here, I'll look for a top wick before it comes down, right? And we'll look for the potentially not wick entries, but the break of the previous higher low. And as that's happening, we'll look to fill the range towards 2020 as our advantage point, and then down towards 2016 for runners. But your position, if you do get into it, is probably going to be from here to your full TP is around 70 pips, which is quite nice. I think that's basically it. For buys, again, I'm going to need to, I think regardless of whatever happens, you'll probably need to tap 2016 first, even for buys, right? For buys now, I probably need to see price do something like this, right? You're consolidating here, coming down first, and I'll probably look for buys above this level to continue up, if that happens, right? Because then you need to break some of the lows, and I need this to consolidate here for a little bit longer, because I need price to show us that it's struggling in this area. So once you break past that area and grab some liquidity potentially, I'll look for a position once you re-break this high. And I'll probably have a stop here or whatever. And that would be the position for buys. But at the moment, it's not looking like there are any buys in any time frame for the next couple of hours. And there's more sells potentially during Asia. But it's pretty clean today, like compared to price action during New York this morning. I would say it's slightly cleaner today. Oh, at the moment. But yeah. Cool. I think that's that. Pish, does that make sense to everyone? We have the same analysis. Yeah, I think today it's quite clear. Because yesterday we broke down that we're overall bearish, right? So if we're bearish and we have a top wick and we haven't filled the range, what is price going to do? Very likely is going to go fill the range. So it's quite a nice range fill that we could potentially get. All right, let us. You guys can now unmute yourselves. Yo. Yo. How are you doing, Mo?
I'm doing good. Actually, really good. I took a trade today off the level you marked up from the day before.
Yeah.
Where we had the level at, let me check again quickly, 2026.17.
Around these areas. And did you take, which entry did you take?
It was after the closure below at 1845 on the 50 minutes.
18.
So for you, it's probably 1745.
Oh, so below here.
One more.
Yeah, there. This one. So you close below this one, right?
Yeah. So basically, when it closed below there.
Yeah, exactly what we mentioned, right? So this was a clean trade. Yeah.
So took 10 pips there.
Yeah, nice. I think literally that was the position because I mentioned it yesterday, right? But then Don also was doing his breakdown. Were you at Don's stream as well?
Yes, I was also not.
Yeah, and it was the same position, right? We just looked at it much earlier, but it's the same thing. Yeah, W.
So that was really nice.
Yeah. See, that's the power of the analysis, right? Like you do it now, and it still can apply for New York, right? The same concepts like still make sense.
100%.
Yo, Jacob, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Yeah, you're very quiet. Are you driving?
No, I just spoke quiet right there, but
You just like whispering some ASMR shit.
yeah, I was gonna say though, can you like show me the levels you're looking at for your 2030 level,
2030.
like on the
Yeah,
higher
yeah.
time frame or like how you see it? Because I'm trying to see that level and I don't see it.
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, I would say you have to identify where we're currently at, and that's within this range here, right?
Hmm.
Between 2020 and 2024. So the last time we were kind of there, let's look at when we were last bearish as well. Let me just extend this over. So last time we were kind of in this area, I would say, are more towards like, we came down to these, like you have to compare where price is at. So if we look at price, right, we've relatively similar price action happening here compared to here, I would say overall, right? Came down, we tapped
Yes.
into these areas, cool. Came back up towards these areas, right? 2038, 2040 sorts of areas, and then started down, right, from here. At this point, you had some play around these areas, and every time you wanted to grab liquidity, right? I'm not expecting price to come back, so you can mirror one of two things. So either mirroring this here, or you're mirroring this here. So these are the two that I'm looking at, right? So because you've tapped into 2039, you could be in this case here, or you could be here, right? You've tapped in 29 previously here. And as that's happened, right, you came down, you couldn't break, right? You're in this area, this box here, and this time you were in this box here, came up to grab liquidity in these areas before you came down. These areas, you grabbed liquidity up around these areas before coming down, right? So if we look at this in more detail, what was the kind of candle structure we were in there, right? So we also produced some wicks, right? We didn't close into this area, but we grabbed liquidity before we were able to do this massive push to fill 2016. So that's one potential area price needs to tap. The next one is you kind of were in this area as well. You kind of consolidated on a lower time frame probably. So um, where is it? Yeah, somewhere around here, right? You had a spike down into this actually, but as you were doing that, you didn't continue below. You didn't push past 2020, right? Because you didn't push past 2020, you're expecting more liquidity to be grabbed. And as that's happening, looking at, okay, where did price tap, right? It's kind of within this box here. And in this case, it was here. So if I just have potentially, a level around here that I'm looking for price to tap, that could be the liquidity level for us to then rip down below. So I'll probably won't take wick entries, right? It depends on the situation, right? If we get a nice breakout below maybe 2020 with some level of bottom wick, whatever, and then it just shoots up towards 2030, maybe we'll get some positions in terms of wick entries, but it's still difficult, I would say. What I would be looking for is potentially price to close back into 2024 after this, and then uh, trade this range fill and then continuing down. Does that make a little bit more sense?
Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah. It's just like comparing this to these, it's difficult because this is bearish structure, right? This is now we've come down all the way here. Now we're printing bullish to come up. We can't really use this because this happened like very recently. I mean, even if you want to look at this, it's like, okay, last time we were here, you did shoot up all the way to these areas, right? So if you were to grab liquidity anywhere, like in this box here, that'd be great as well. But that's why I'm not taking the sell wick entries, because I don't know how far this is going to push up. Because you haven't, like, in terms of the higher time frame, you haven't broken below 2016. So at any given point, the direction could just be, we could just tap into 2016, right? Like something that looks like this, where you tap into 2016 and then just start flipping bullish again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the confirmations I need. Yeah. I feel like today's price action is relatively clean. And I think it's gonna, however CPI comes out, it's gonna be very important as well. Where is it? So this is staying. This one is higher. This is good for bad for gold, so gold down. This one is higher, it's gonna go down. This one, unemployment claims, this is higher, so this is gonna go up. So it's mixed news, right? And because it's mixed news, it makes it even harder to trade news for anybody who is trading news. I am definitely not trading news. But if it starts breaking below some of these levels, right? Because you have grabbed this higher time frame liquidity towards 2038, 2039. If you do start coming down and breaking below 2016, you probably have quite an easy range fill down towards 2009. So what we could be taking after news tomorrow is potentially, if it just comes down first, taking the break of that low may be slightly difficult, but if it comes up first and then flips for the news candle, yeah, we'll probably ride that down all the way, depending on how steep that top wick is. Yeah, does that concur to everyone? Does everybody concur?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
This is just like a random question. So you see how like right here, this traffic, like we had structure with this traffic, and then we still mirrored it, and then this traffic, there's like no structure at all. You think we'll mirror this one like less? I mean, we still drove down here, and then, but I feel like since there's no structure, it would make sense that there's just like a clean drive, right?
I think what you can expect is if you do break below like this area, what you're looking at is probably a clean drive towards your next, support, which in our case, we're looking at probably.
Yeah, I think it would still be logical to say, like, have those levels, but do you get what I'm saying though? Of like, does that make sense? Of
are you saying that like you're expecting price to drop?
No, I mean obviously not drop, but I don't know. I would just want to see like how it plays. Since I feel like this is so much more cleaner than let's say this, and then it's still mirrored though. But
yeah, I would say
it's literally the same thing, but it's probably gonna be the same thing. But
I would say though,
I doubt. Like I'm pretty sure price, like you said, price still has to, or not like you said, but price still has to create structure and etc. So
yeah, this is not tradable. I would say this and this is tradable because.
But if you take the break of the low like here, would that be valid?
It depends if there is enough liquidity, because for example, if your daily just starts pumping down right towards 2016,
it wouldn't make sense.
If it starts breaking below 2016 just off of the next daily candle and has no top wick, I probably can't take that, right?
Yeah.
Because the last time price was able to push past below or whatever, first of all, you came up from all the way to these areas to come down, right? You have a tiny bit of a fake out here, but overall the structure is bullish, right? So if that daily candle has no top wick and you've pushed past here, there is also a chance that this is liquidity for us to continue back up, right? And your weekly has no top wick as well. So when it does big moves like that, it could be a higher time frame move, and you don't want to be stuck in that. But like for example, I just want to see what this candle was in terms of like smaller time frame. But yeah, like how can you trade this? There are no wicks. I mean, like, there's not really any structure. Like, as it's starting to slow down here, but you just kind of continue to push.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any, like, once we break into that range and we're just driving, like, there's no entry unless you got the entry, like, the original entry, right?
Unless you got the entry around these areas, but there wasn't any liquidity.
No, I mean, in terms of, like, when they were playing out, like, go to curve, like, once we start coming down, like we talked about, like, unless you get this entry, like once you're breaking these lows and you consider that you already have enough liquidity, like there was no other entry after that one, right?
Yeah, like for example, if you just come down and you consolidate here and then come back up, the fake out to come back down, and then if this rips down, then yeah, like you can probably get an entry below either 2020 and 2024, but if news comes out, it's probably just going to start ripping, right, in either direction, I don't remember which. But if you didn't get into this position or this position, and then you're kind of like waiting for news to come out and it's already pushed, you can't get into position.
So what about like in terms of when when we would say like, oh well, price is breaking this level and this level and this level, so I assume we'll break into this range.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? So for example, if we break below 2016, there's a high chance we're going to fill the next range, which is down towards 2009, 2010, right? So if it breaks below here, yeah, we have clean traffic below, I would say 2015, 2.6. So if, and it'd be amazing if this happened, but if price for news is going to drive down, what I need to take, or what I need in terms of confirmations to take the breakout below 2015.62 to come down towards 2010 is for the daily to have a top wick, right? As long as the daily has a top wick and the 4 hour kind of like next 4 hour kind of like comes up, creates a steeper top wick, and then closes bearish, right? And then your hourly like is also kind of closing bearish, you're still within this range or with a steeper top wick after coming in. Basically the fake out on a smaller time frame and the daily top wick. Once that happens, you're probably able to take this down, and below 2016, 2015, you have some pretty clean traffic, right? But you need that top wick. If you have nothing there and the price just looks like this.
And then say from like 2000, say if price does drive from like 2010 to 1992, like once we break those ranges.
I probably wouldn't. No, I wouldn't take anything after it breaks here.
Why?
Because like, then you're looking at this range, right? You're looking at this range here. You've tapped into this area. What's to say that you're gonna continue driving past here? Do you have enough liquidity to drive past 2010? Because you're currently like 140 pips away. If you do come up for that top wick and then flip down from 2030, this is 200 pips, right? If you want to continue driving, yeah, you can, right? And you might with news, you definitely can. But I think my full TP is going to be at 2010. 2010. Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you could also do like eventually like 50% closure and then just hold runners towards like 22 or was it 1980 or whatever. But yeah. I mean, we can have a look as well, right? So last time we filled down to these areas, got a pretty aggressive. Yeah, I mean, if it does break, probably I'll look for closures, right? If it does close below, I'll need a top wick before it can re-enter, I'd say.
And that's the only. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Even if this pushed like this, I probably wouldn't be able to get an entry here. If this then, if this was our range, right? So if we just look left, we have a bit of a range here. Since we ranged in this area, you go above, grab liquidity to come down, you probably could have taken this breakout here, because then this would have been more clean to come down. But just during this range here, I probably couldn't take anything. And unless you're in a trade and you're holding runners, it's probably slightly more difficult. Do you think we are in decision level? I don't think we're in decision level at the moment. We have a slightly clearer direction at the moment, which is good. Watching from South Africa. What time is it in South Africa? But welcome, yes. Oh, Johnny's here. What's up?
I was, you know that thing you posted in the chat earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the reasoning behind not taking?
Just because. Yeah, I would say the only reasoning is basically because the daily had a bottom wick. Right? Your daily had a bottom wick and you closed bullish, right? So I am more bearish than I was bullish, right? But I wasn't expecting this steep of a top wick, right? I was expecting a small top wick potentially if I wanted to start ripping down. But because you came down first, right? I think the first bit of the daily.
You broke the lows.
Yeah, we just started coming down.
And then broke up.
Yeah, we started coming down first, right? I think this was the candle. Yeah, this here, this you came down and you came down all the way to these areas and you started breaking up, right? And then you broke the lows, and then you started coming up again. You broke the daily lows again before breaking the daily lows again, daily highs again. So at that point, like if you did want to continue up in the short term, you probably could have. I was just looking at that level as potential, like, there is a high chance that price would make a decision here. Doesn't mean that it's going to reject like 100%. Obviously, it rejected this time, but equally, right? It could have, needed more liquidity overall for us to continue down. So if you just look at the 4 hour, right? Last time you were in this area, you broke this, right? You haven't broken these highs, obviously, right? But if you go down to like the 1 hour or whatever, you kind of haven't rebroken this low since. You've come back up. You potentially, the next time this comes up, if it breaks this high, you potentially gone, right? So I can't just take a sell here. It's more dangerous, I would say.
Even yeah, okay. Like so, even after say the hourly,
Even after what?
the hourly closed bearish.
I think after the hourly close bearish, the issue with this hourly closure that's bearish is I probably wanted more of a bottom wick than this.
Yeah, I mean, I'd
And this. No top wick.
2034 5 as well. I just
You took a sell around here?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I remember watching it and going.
This could be also an indication with on the hourly with the top wick that was matching the previous top wick. When you go on the hourly, you see there the top wick, and then on the left the first, they kind of match on the same height ish.
Yeah, sure.
Could this be also like some sort of indication with that it grabbed liquidity there and then basically also drove down?
I think essentially like why I had this level was, again, just based off of the 4 hour where you have literally this. Like I was just looking at, you came up to grab liquidity once, you pushed down, you filled down towards these areas. You haven't filled 2016 yet still, which is why we're still expecting 2016, right? But then here, grab more liquidity again before the drop, and you potentially are in this stage now, right? So if you grab more liquidity here, you could see a drop down, which is why I'm expecting 2030 now instead of 2039. But that's essentially it. Like I literally had one line, and like this is why I think I said like 4 pip stops or whatever. But
yeah,
I couldn't take it. But yeah, that's the idea.
I did actually take something at 12:15.
12:15.
Yeah.
It helps because you're also London time, which is great. 12:15 here. Yeah, no, it helps because like I think Johnny, you're also using like UK time, so I can just check 12:15.
Because it closed below 20. Why did it close below 2034 on like the 30, and then this 15 came up with like no top wick, and I just took it as a fake out to come down.
Oh, okay. So your previous 30, yeah, close respecting, I guess, your overall range around these areas.
What's it called? Is it a salary play? The one where
the zucchini?
And then the one where it's a breakout and then it has a bullish candle that respects the resistance.
Celery.
Celery, yeah. And then it was like celery on the 30 and then a 15 fake out.
Yeah, like this, right? This here, where you're respecting here and then a fake out. I guess, yeah. I mean,
it actually hit break even
as it came back up.
Yeah, because I took it as a once it reached the bottom of the last candle, I moved to break even.
Yeah. I think because with something like this, like you just had such an aggressive push up. I think it was like the only position maybe I could have taken was this because the daily had a bottom wick, so you're expecting if it wants to come up.
Like break at the highs.
But again, like I would have definitely needed this as like this salary wasn't bad. Like this, understanding that it's respecting this range now, so it's in this range. It's gonna fill up to at least around 2037. Yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll sample size that. I guess I'll keep that in mind. But yeah, it's a difficult one.
I was surprised that it went all the way down, and then the 15 that it took went down and then all the way back up, and then after that it ripped down, and it was like great, okay.
Yeah. Essentially this was just liquidity for us to continue down. And like yeah, like a lot of the times you'll get your move stops to break even and liquidity will kind of fuck you. But I mean the idea was there, right?
Yeah.
Just like this here, right? The idea was there.
Based off of having grabbed liquidity to come down, and then we got a smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think if this really wants to come down hard without any of this, probably it would have to be in like New York session instead of London, and also probably like come higher, breaking these highs, and then coming back down. You probably get a more aggressive push down. But yeah, I mean, it basically happened like what happened today is exactly what we kind of broke down yesterday. So let's see if we're right today. Even if we make no money and we have no positions, as long as we're predicting the markets slightly better every single day, that's a W. CPI is going to be a big factor on direction. Yes, CPI should push price because it's not just CPI. You also have unemployment claims. So it should be a pretty big day. Do you have anything on Friday?
Mixed news can be fun. Yeah.
Mixed news is great.
Because it can give you a bottom wick.
Yeah, exactly.
But
with mixed news, it's also slightly more. If it does whipsaw up and down, we'll probably need to see like an actual five closure because you don't know where it's actually going to go. You'll probably want to see a five closure plus next candle has like a top wick or a bottom wick before going in that direction. Um, yeah, we'll just have to be. It depends. Sometimes with like when it says mixed news here, it'll just come out as like an actual is like slightly different to the forecast, and then it'll just be just all aligned, and price could just drop. But we'll see. We'll see. Anything can happen. It's exciting though. We finally have a news event after what I think 3 days, 4 days.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is great. There's no news to like mess around with the trades, and now it's like there's just no volume. It's
Yeah.
Market open.
Market open. Yeah, pushing up's good. Pushing up is good. I am also looking at potentially like look at this. There's this one candle here which is respecting here. We'll see. This is more bullish action, right? Because you're coming up and then retracing, but maybe. Is that important? We'll see. Yeah, it depends how aggressive it's gonna be. Go.
Bro, so this is just me being like transparent. So last night, like I was in a buy with Wix, and then I was at buy at loss, and then we started coming down, and I took an entry at I don't even remember like. So I'm saying I don't remember what was my logic behind the entry, but I took it at 2034.81. So I don't know what I was even looking at, but I'm just really bringing that up so next time I do that shit, I can catch myself. Because
Yeah, for sure.
obviously I seen something, but it's not good that I can't remember what I saw. And
Did you journal it?
No, yeah, I didn't even journal it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, as long as you know you did something wrong, right? That's why you're saying it now, so you remember it for next time. I mean, the fact that you said it gives yourself slightly more accountability for it as well. Like you know you did something wrong, right? And then now you're admitting to it, and then yeah, I mean that's takes balls, man. What was his loss? I didn't because I don't trade
He was
Asian.
in a buy, and then he closed like once we started closing back in the red.
Was it around here?
Yeah, around there.
This is like New York.
Or where was it? It was before the pull down. I think
Tuesday.
that was in New York. That was Asian.
No, this is 1
Extreme New
p.m.
York.
1 p.m. This is New York. Asian is like around here.
But you're tripping. I think
Not.
that's the day before, right?
it's Wednesday today.
Oh wait, was it last night?
Yeah, last night.
Ah, okay. So Asian was around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess before this push down here, right? Here's some buys.
See, this is why I have my level at the 30s is like at 32. I have a small level at 32 as well. I mean,
Yeah.
just that entire section is horrible. Like,
It's not great,
from
right?
30 up to 32 is like practically untradeable.
Yeah, because you've created such like you have so many different ranges here. So just focus on the bigger range, which is from 2039 to 2024. That's my range, right? And then just wait. Like we previously had 2026, right? But we understood that if you close below, you need liquidity to continue down. So once you have that, you've established a new bottom of the range, 2024. Great. Once you break down, you should have clean traffic to go down.
Is this also maybe related to what Don is saying, that like when the range is like 20 pips or like a range of 10 pips, you're not trying to catch the 10 pips and then with the spread and all that stuff, so that you need a decent size for a range?
Yeah, like for example, if you were trading like a 30-minute range, right, and you have really specific points, like for example, I'm trading between 2026 here down to this level around here at 2024. So your range is literally like 18 pips. Are you going to be grabbing 60% of that range? Or am I going to be looking at like a much bigger range overall, which is, potentially down from 2024 all the way down to 2016, which is like an 80 pip range, right? Like a 70 pip range.
Correct.
And if I get like 10 pips from there, well, that's like 12%. That's fine. 13% of the entire range as 10 pips, right? So that's like a higher probability than catching like 60% of a range overall. I mean, I don't know why Wix was in a buy.
I think he probably had a level of like 31 or something and he closed above.
Huh. Daily no bottom wick at that point. He just took a buy. Interesting. Who knows? Who knows?
Did daily have no bottom wick?
It probably came down. Actually, it probably did have bottom wick first thing, right? Came down bottom
And then it's
wick.
combined the candles.
Yeah, and then it started going up, right? Maybe as it's like respecting this, he probably got into a buy towards, I don't know, somewhere in these areas. Just start coming down. But if you have, yeah,
But yeah, if you have literally that like 20 pip range, I've just had as a massive resistant like block of just
yeah,
it needs to close above or below that, otherwise it's
yeah. Oh, so you're gonna do any live trades if you see it set up on stream, or just sticking to education analysis? I mean, look, I can't take anything, brother. What is the daily has
what do
no
you mean?
bottom? Like, what do you want me to
There's
do,
no bottom
man?
wick on the daily.
Like, Jesus, I'd love to take a trade, but
Daily flip.
I can't.
Take
Like,
a daily flip swing trade for 2
unless I
minutes.
see a swing trade, right? And it's like, wow, this is the best. But even if it's a swing trade, I probably want to see a top wick and then get into a sell, or like, a bottom wick and then get into a buy. So it's good. It's difficult. But I think this session is actually like quite good for overall breakdown education, plus also watching gaps. Gaps are fun, man. Like, or like pushes. Like this push here, that was incredible. Um, that's what this session is for. We don't do trading here.
But
We're not
actually,
traders.
if you could go on the 30,
Yeah.
and then from last night, you put on 2026 the level, would you say that is a rejection now of that candle actually?
For
It's
oh
2026.17.
yeah, around here, right? Are you saying
Yeah.
this is? I mean, yeah, potentially. You'll likely like all of these levels. There's a chance that you'll get some sort of reaction to price, right? The
All right.
stronger the level, the stronger the reaction, or the stronger the decision price will need to make if it wants to break through or if it's going to reject, right? But
Mhm.
it's like, again, this is a 30-minute potential smaller level, right? And in that case, the rejection is probably going to be small, like this, right? Is this actually going to be it for the top weight for the daily, or is this going to be like, just us making like a very small 5 minute sort of lower high and before doing this, right?
I mean, yeah, we're also only 10 minutes in, right? So
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, I see what you mean. And like, yeah, I would say to some degree, yes, it is a minor rejection off of that level after prices just tapped it. Yeah. Yeah, I think like if we have volume during the session for some reason, I'll be happy to take a trade live, but it's just this session is most of the time, right? Market open, you won't have a top or bottom wick, and then yeah, you need like an hour or two for price to actually print something, and then after that, we can probably get into trading, and by that time, it's already Asian, right? Oh, Tom's here as well. How you doing, Tom?
Yo, how you doing?
You haven't been here for a while, mate. I haven't spoken to you for a while.
Been in the background, yeah. Haven't been for a while.
Mm.
I guess like the one thing I'm noticing about my own trading is like if I take sort of a break even or a small win or like a small loss
Yeah,
during the session and then like the session's been really dead, I
yeah,
sort of like find myself as we're getting closer to the end of the session, sort of like wanting to take a trade. I know you mentioned earlier about like marking up tiny ranges on like a smaller time frame.
yeah,
And like I see those, I'm like, oh, maybe I should take that. So I've noticed that, but then also at the same time, I think I've like tried to pull myself sort of out of that like mindset of like, oh, okay, I have to take a trade or like I want to take a trade. So if it's not like a really high quality setup, I'm
yeah,
getting better at sort of just like having that control over placing a trade and just ignoring it.
yeah. I think, I mean, I definitely still fall into that trap sometimes as well. But I think the good thing, like, or something that helps is when you're about to take a trade, or if you've taken a trade already, right? Do a completely new analysis. Like, at least start from the daily straight down, because in that case, it gives you, again, an overall bigger picture of what's happening. Uh,
Yes.
and then it'll move you away from just thinking about, okay, so the 5 minutes just closed off here. Because when you're in that kind of mindset, you're like, oh, just because we're all looking to potentially take advantage of the market, right, and whatever. But once we start, looking at the smaller time frames only, that's when we will start making bad decisions, and we want to stop ourselves from getting into that state. And to do that, one thing that helps is potentially just to do that top-down analysis once again, because then you'll see, like, for example, oh yeah, the hourly actually didn't close below, so I can't really take it. And then just based off of that, you like, if you can then convince yourself that it's still a good trade, then there's probably some other factors to do with like psychology. But if you do your top-down analysis and you understand that, okay, actually I can't take this, then you've prevented you know an unplanned trade, which is another win, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I think as well with like experience as well and sort of taking at the trades that you want to take, you sort of have a better understanding of like what a good trade actually looks like.
yeah,
And you sort of like step back for a minute and be like, okay, if this like exact situation happened again tomorrow, am I going to take it? And if that's like 100%, yeah, that's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's great. And if it's like, maybe not, then that's sort of indicating that like, oh, maybe it's not the best setup to take.
Exactly. Like, I mean, not even that long ago, I basically, I think I lost one trade, that was like relatively small. It was like only like 20 pips or whatever. But then like right after that, because I was on holiday, so I didn't have my laptop, and I was just trading off of my phone. And I feel like trading with your phone, a lot of the times you'll just see a small portion of the charts, and then you'll just see, oh, look, like the five has no bottom wick, and it's like coming down.
Yeah.
It's gonna flip, right? And you're just like, oh yeah, let me just get in. But then it's like at that point, I think like I took one legit loss, and then I took like another two smaller losses, one big, one small, whatever. And then at that point, I was just like, oh okay, I see what's happening here, right? So I just kind of fell back into that loop again, and it's like, well, yeah, cool. As long as I identify it, then now I can make a better decision after identifying it. That's it, right? And then you can
Yeah.
only improve after kind of being more understanding of what your mindset is and how your psychology is playing out.
Yeah. And I think like Don touched on it a little bit today. He's
Mm,
basically saying
yeah,
how like your psychology is so much better if you've like entered a trade that you take no matter the day compared
yeah,
to you take a trade like so you're forcing it. And then, for example, like if you're in drawdown, if that's like not your trade, you're gonna be so much more panic, like gonna be shit yourself. Whereas, if that's like your trade, you take it any day of the week, and you go into drawdown, then your psychology isn't gonna be impacted as much because you
yeah,
took that trade,
exactly. I think
which is
a
like
lot of
confidence in
people,
it.
including myself, right? Previously, when we say, yeah, that's not my trade or that's not my plan, previously I would have just told you, yeah, my plan is just, like if it looks good for me and it makes sense for me, I'll take it, right? But that shouldn't be the plan. The plan should be when it literally looks like a trade, which if you didn't take, you'd be like, why the fuck did I not take that?
Yeah.
I think that's the plan, right? That the plan is like when you see something that's so perfect or like, you've seen multiple times play out and you don't take it, then that's the only time where I can say I've missed a trade.
Yeah.
Um,
And that was like your session, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like essentially like I think for this trade up here, like would I have taken this? Like me, even maybe like 2 weeks ago, I probably would have taken
I was
it,
going
right?
to say, this seems like the sort of thing you would have just chucked in
Yeah,
as
yeah,
a
yeah.
test.
Yeah, no, as a test, I probably would have taken it, but I kind of I now have social trader tools which link up all my accounts, so I can't really just test. But also, just I'm trying to move away from that, just in terms of taking only high quality setups and not doing like physical testing and more just mental testing. But like positions like this, 2 weeks ago, 100% would have taken this. But I know now that's like, okay, if I take this, I'd be worried that potentially, this has no top wick here, even if it's come down all the way to here and I haven't closed or whatever for some reason. I'll be like, oh wait, is this structure in the smaller time frame is bullish, right? I'll have multiple reasons I'm thinking about. Whereas like if I took this trade here, like I can't find a reasoning or like any like kind of understanding or any sort of excuse for me to be like, yeah, I shouldn't take this trade because it just made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think it's key to understand that like everyone's still improving. Like I'm still improving, Don's still improving, right? And all of us we're all improving still. And it's okay to sometimes have a worse day. Like even if you took a loss and everybody's saying like, oh yeah, I've won. Doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, you're only competing against yourself. Them making money or whatever really doesn't matter, right? As long as you at the end of the day have the skill of trading, that's all that matters. And then you can just print money, man. That's it. But I think the focus is just for all of us, especially just to be able to trade consistently, which is why I kind of stopped taking these entries or the more impulsive entries and just taking 100% setups.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe 2 weeks later into the future, I'll just tell you, yeah, guys, it's not working out. I'm gonna have to shut down EvolutionDVS. I'm so sorry.
You've blown all your accounts.
Yeah, imagine. Oh, Gerald's here. Gerald, you can unmute yourself, by the way. Um, Gerald, you're in Singapore. Bro, why are you not sleeping?
Just woke up, bro.
What the fuck? What time is it?
7+.
Oh, that's okay. Cool. I think we were about to end this anyways, relatively soon.
Oh shit, sorry.
That's right, that's right. How do you use the Fibonacci strategy, brother? Oh, Fibonacci strategy? Man, I don't even
Can you
know.
pull that up on the
Yeah,
chart?
it
Oh,
was
this
show
give
us.
us a good
Show us
Oh
the
yeah,
snap.
shit. Where the fuck do I even find that?
It's literally the second from the top, I think.
Here?
Not
This one?
directly.
Fib retracement?
Which one is it?
Retracement.
There's so many. There's
So
fib circle. Oh, mate, fib circles. So obviously, what you do is you take where price is currently, right, and you drag it. Oh, what the fuck is this? And you drag it to around here. So obviously, right, we're understanding that price will need to do some sort of liquidity grab to come down. So we're expecting the 4.618 to be the level we're tapping for liquidity. Yeah, man, I have no. We don't
Literally
use.
made my day.
I have no idea what was that. How do you use this?
What about the fib spiral? What is this?
Oh wait, I want to try the fib spiral as well. Whoa!
Yo. hypnotizing us, alright?
The fuck is
Into
going
drop
on?
down.
Oh, but it's like, it's really small actually. Whoa, whoa. Why is it go
What does
to?
that have?
Okay. Yeah, man, I have no idea how these work. And I suggest if you're a new trader, just stay away from these. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, you're feeling high. Yeah, so unfortunately, we do not use any, indicators or whatever. DonVo has taught us well. We are just avid eye traders. We just look at charts and candle closures. But yeah,
Holy shit. Try the fib speed resistance fan. That's like a
Fibs.
laser show.
wait,
It's
wait,
like
wait.
an
Which
The
one?
fib speed resistance fan is in the middle.
Oh
yeah.
my
That's
God.
like a laser show.
Whoa. Oh, it's in quadrants as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. How does who created this?
It's. I know it works on liquidity levels with the general fib retracement fib.
Yeah, this one, I think it makes sense. Like,
But everything else is.
yeah, I think some of these make sense.
I
But
think it's sort of to do with like range 2 breakouts as well, but
yeah, it's
that's just eyeballing it.
yeah, no idea, man. Anyways, any other questions before? Okay, I'm gonna do a summary real quick. So yesterday's analysis, right? We understood that the daily closed bullish, respecting around 2030, 2031 sorts of areas. So we were more bearish than bullish, right? So as price came down, we were looking to take sells below 2026, but we understood that it needs a steeper top wick, more liquidity. So what we were looking for is price to come down, grab liquidity in the form of breaking the daily high, and then once you re-break that low, you're probably good to come down to fill the ranges towards 2016. Today, what happened is we had the first part, and the second part, we haven't got that full drive down to 2016 yet. So today's candle is relatively simple. We're still in this range. We closed bearish, right? Indicating that we have now broken past 2027 and we're into this range down towards 2016. So we have a pretty simple range fill, right? Your daily is also now opened up. You have no bottom wick. Come up first, which is fantastic. We're looking to grab some short-term liquidity at around 2030. And then as that's happening, cool, you could probably look to take fake outs to come back into some ranges on like the smaller time frame, potentially below 2024 as that's happening, which will be your daily flip, right? Daily flip to come down to 2020 as your advantage level, potentially down towards 2016. And then that's kind of your overall trade idea for the day. But don't kind of get into like a sell off the rip or like a wick entry or whatever, because you don't have that confirmation yet on the smaller time frame. You still haven't broken these lows. So any given point, this could just be liquidity for us to start retesting these highs, right? And in that case, you don't want to be stuck in a sell as price is pushing up, especially as you also have news, right? I think, yeah, news, you have like four red folders for news. And then if you really look at price, right, even though the daily is bearish, any given point, the weekly can flip. You have no top wick for the weekly. Your monthly is bullish for last month, right, for December. If it flips, you're probably going to start retesting the highs. So you don't want to be stuck in a sell when price is making those higher time frame moves, right? So wait for your confirmations, wait for price to come up first, potentially take the daily flip to come down, and just take a bit of price, right? Take what price gives you. But yeah, just make sure whatever position is that you take is according to your plan. And as that's happening, you won't regret, right? I think we were discussing the psychology behind this just now, but make sure you have a plan and just execute. Doesn't matter if the plan is right or wrong, right? But as long as you don't regret it, you're good. Yeah. Any last questions before we kind of end it around here?
Did you take any trade today?
Yeah, I took the trade we literally broke down last night below here. So you created this low for the daily, you came up, broke the highs, took this sell below here, right,
Nice.
to come down. I think we closed like 9 pips, 10 pips. So that's about it.
All right.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm probably going to end around here. Uh, thank you very much, guys, Zooms, for joining up. It's been a great session. We've had a lot of people today. That's great. That's what we want. But yeah, today is Wednesday, right? So tomorrow is the last session of the week, I think, because you don't have Friday. So yeah, I will see you guys all tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining.
We'll see you boys on Monday.
See you on Monday then, Tom.
Yeah.
But have a good one. See you guys.
All right. Thanks.
And for everybody on the YouTube live, thank you very much for joining up. Hopefully the analysis was, relatively straightforward. You start, you kind of overall understand what price is likely to do, at least in the short term, right? Just mainly for tomorrow's candle. And also explaining why we're taking specific positions, what we need to see, what the confirmations are. These are all parts, it's all part of the overall strategy, right? All these confirmations, what we're looking for, and everything. Why no trading on Friday? We are trading on Friday, but it's just I don't do a Friday night analysis because there's no trading on Saturday, right? But we will be back tomorrow, and we should have a pretty good analysis tomorrow as well after news tomorrow. So after tomorrow, and those 4 red folders will have a better understanding of where price potentially might go for the remaining of the week. And then after that, we'll do a better analysis then. But yeah, thanks for joining up. And I will speak to you all tomorrow. Peace.